Hello and welcome back again to Beginner Sewing with Mary. Today we're going to be making a decorative dog collar using some just simple silk flowers. You can get those anywhere. Some ribbon, thread, needle, and pins. And of course you'll need a dog collar or a cat collar. You can make these for cats as well. My little dog is so small that that's actually the red collar there is actually a cat collar. So we've taken the blooms off the flowers and then we just cut off those back stems so that the flowers will lay flat against the ribbon and against the collar. Going to just thread our needle, giving ourselves probably about an arm's length of thread, but then you're going to double it over, put a knot in the back or on the end. Now we're going to figure out exactly how much ribbon we need. I think this came to about 8 inches of ribbon, but that's including the 2 inches for the hem there that you need to put on either side. Then we're just going to pin it off. And at this point right now, I am just figuring out if it's all going to work. I'm just pinning it together and figuring out, trying to make sure that one, it's wide enough, and 2, it's long enough. And we want to make sure that we only bring the ribbon up to the point of the leash attachment, which is that little loop on the collar, as well as the latch. We don't want to cover up the loop and we don't want to cover up the latch. I'm just laying out the flowers, trying to figure out what type of design I want to make with the flowers. After I decided on that, then I started to go ahead and just do a simple stitch. On either side of the ribbon. That way the edges will not fray. Again, you want to make sure you put a knot at the end of your thread and then that you also tie it off when you're done. I want to show you a little trick here I do too sometimes. I did right here 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches in one. You just slide if you have a long enough needle, you can do more than 1 stitch at a time. And now I'm going to tie it off. Go. And with this, I decided to jump right in and sew those flowers on. Now what you want to do on this is you want to make sure that you are stitching around the center of the flower so that it stays in place. You want to avoid that little plastic piece in the center. It would be really hard to sew through. So I sewed around, and then after I did that, I did just a base stitch, 1 little stitch on either side of the petals, of the flower petals. I overlapped them and did all the way down. Now, kind of jumped over here. After I got all of those flowers sewed on, went ahead and pinned the ribbon onto the leash. Now what you're going to want to make sure you do is you don't want to sew through the leash. It's up to you, but sometimes these leashes are really thick, or excuse me, these collars. You don't want to sew through the collar. Sometimes the collars are really thick. Your needle might not go through, or you don't want to actually ruin the integrity of the collar as well. And here I'm just doing a basic stitch down. I fast forwarded it because took me a little bit to get that done. Making sure we're not sewing also through the flowers. We're just going to do a stitch all along that one edge, holding the ribbon together. Now, if you wanted to, you could make this ribbon, get a ribbon that's even wider, or you could use a piece of fabric that's probably about 4 inches. Sew the flowers on there first, and then sew the piece together, and then just slip it on the leash. But I wanted to make it more secure. Otherwise, they'll be sliding around on the collar. Here we go. We're all done. There is my little model. That's Bella. She's kind of camera shy. Again, thank you for watching Beginner Sewing with Mary. Remember to like and subscribe, and try to make some of these for your own pets.